Good morning, friends. This is Hank, your pajama scholar, with an AGR at 8:41. It has been a busy period. I'm traveling a whole lot since the first of the year. Much more than I've been accustomed to, that's for certain. Mostly all over the state of Florida, which is fine. It's a beautiful, wonderful state. My house is in complete disarray because they came to replace the floors and bring a new washing machine. So I basically have had to pull everything out, which is fine, which is good for a spring cleaning sort of thing. It's something that needs to be done every once in a while. Pull everything out, check everything, go through everything, relabel everything, review your old notes, get rid of all the junk. It's a painstaking process, but I like to take my time with it and, enjoy it, really. Like, go through each individual piece to be better organized when I have to put it all back. Wow. I'd like to have a hot shave today. Traveling around, spending time in hotels. Now, don't mistake me for complaint. I'm not complaining. I'm just a little tired, that's all. A little tired. And I'm satisfied with my decision. Like I say, every once in a while I come down off the mountaintop and get back out into the world. And I do it like on foot, pretty much. I get to where I'm going, and then I go where I'm going on foot. And Florida is very interesting insofar as it is a large state. And to bring you a sort of an analogy, I guess, it's like in Virginia, you have D.C. and Alexandria, and the graft from D.C. has moved all the way down to Fredericksburg, all the way down to Spotsylvania, which used to be fairly like rural, conservative communities. It's gotten more like, I don't know, like this urban sprawl. And it even moved fairly far to the west. But you are able to realize that all these so-called, the seats of power, the capital of the free world, is, you take, if you don't have any traffic, and that's impossible, but if you didn't have any traffic, in 40 minutes you could be from the capital of the free world into bumfuck nowhere. Or quite literally, a place called Bumpus, Virginia. Bumpus, Virginia. Where it's probably like, I don't know, population of however many people live in 3 or 4 houses. Like, sometimes it's like, people have an overinflated sense of, their position or wherever they are in the world. I guess if you never got outside the Beltway. So that's the kind of analogy that I'm bringing here. And I've watched a lot about the Canadian protests because Trudeau is an asshole, and even the Chinese slammed the door on that guy, and I freaking love it. I freaking love it. Like, when the Chinese are pointing their finger at you and calling you a hypocrite, that's really something. That is really something. And well, there it is. Like, when they were talking about this trucker protest, and I'll get back to my point. I'm gonna do like I always do in an AGR. I'm just talking here. But like this freedom convoy thing that was suggested a while back, I was like, I poo-pooed that idea. It's just so fucking absurd. There's no need to go and block traffic in DC. Traffic doesn't move in DC anyway. Like, what the fuck do you need a blockade for? There has never been a more useless piece of territory in all the fucking world than DC. It literally is a fucking. It's smaller than Rhode Island, and it's an absolute fucking nightmare to try and travel to get into or out of. It's almost as bad as Richmond. Like a good while back, like before the whole scamdemic, shit really kicked off. I believe it was January 20th of 2020. They had that Virginia, basically the Virginia militiamen all came out, and there are a fucking shit ton of them. They take that shit seriously in Virginia. Like, because the governor was making the Northam, I believe, was the governor at the time, was making some sort of bullshit overture towards bringing in some kind of ludicrous gun control laws, and every fucker in Virginia rolled out, armed to the teeth, with open carry, down there to Richmond City, just to fucking let everybody know what's up. And people had bandied back and forth this conversation. What about a false flag? And what about, what about, something kicking off, blah, 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 bugaloo, some nonsense bullshit here. And I'm going, you know what? It'll be a motherfucking Disneyland. Like, you're talking about a bunch of Virginians armed to the teeth. It is going to be the most, it'll be safer than than Disneyland, for real. I mean, an armed society is a polite society. Nobody's going to be fool enough to open up in that crowd, because I can guarantee you one thing. Some of them dudes, more than a few, can shoot. And everybody was busted in packing. Of course, which it gave me a somewhat of a good indication about kind of where our law enforcement agencies and where they really actually kind of stood and stand. Virginia has long been a lot of times it is first to act in what is necessary to be done to defend the rights and liberties of our great nation. The demonstration was absolutely necessary, and it did give us some indication about where the hearts of our law enforcement really was. This was before that whole January 6th psyop that they pulled off with the Q nonsense that we had been talking about since forever, that computer generated psyop. And they had like a no-fly over Richmond. And like I said, it was very, very, very safe. It was a Disneyland, pretty much. And in Richmond, there's no parking anyway, so it would make it very difficult for there to be like any kind of nonsense, because once you're in, you're not getting out. Not easily. Not at all. So it really did make it an ideal location for such a demonstration. And Governor Youngkin, now up there in Virginia, does have some affiliation, some connections to the Carlyle Group, and we all know about the Carlyle Group. But now, as I've gotten older and I look at a world of conspiracies, which are not theory but reality, you realize that and I'm gonna go to Eclasticides here, because I actually had started to write, and I wanted to pull one specific piece to make a point, which is what I think a lot of people do with the Bible. And I got to I'm not even sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. Eclasticides 1:9 and 1:10, which is basically to say there's nothing new under the sun. So the same kind of like gang shit that you would find in the Roman Republic, to the shit that you would find on the streets of Atlanta, to the political infighting, to the corporate espionage from nation states to counties in competition, or whatever it may be, churches in competition, whatever it may be. There's nothing new under the sun. You just got to realize, hey, like, it is what it is. Well, the Biden administration is such a spectacular failure that anything that's associated with it or connected to it is inevitably and invariably doomed to failure. And Terry McCullough got his ass whipped like I don't know. We just haven't seen that level of ass kicking in Virginia gubernatorial election in a long time, because you get so much of that graft that flows out of D.C., and it changed the landscape of Virginia because of all those carpet-bagging fucks up in the northern sectors. Like, I didn't like to set foot beyond Fredericksburg past a certain point. But Youngkin seems to be making some intelligent moves that makes Virginia more attractive. Like, I believe he called it a gas tax holiday. They had a strike up there, some Nabisco strike. I think it was resolved. I wasn't going to buy any Nabisco products until I had heard that the strike was ended, and ended in a way that represented both the interests of the company and the interests of the workers. Without the workers, there is no company, and without the company, there is no work. It's that simple. But a company that treats its workers well will get my patronage. That's all it is to it, and that's been resolved. And he's got a gas tax holiday to try and help with these gas prices or whatever that are fucking absolutely insane, and going to get more insane. I mean, I hedged my bets a little bit on fuel. I wish I had a little bit more money to throw at it, but I don't. But Florida, it's kind of like city states inside of Florida. Like Jacksonville is wildly different than Tallahassee. And Tallahassee is wildly different than Tampa. And Tampa is wildly different than Orlando. And Orlando is wildly different than Fort Myers. And Fort Myers is wildly different than Naples. And Naples is wildly different than Miami. And Miami is wildly different than Fort Lauderdale. I've been traveling so much, sometimes I forget where the fuck I'm at. So, I had kind of held off on making, videos on the road. I had done it a little bit one time. And I put that over on Odyssey, because diversification, man, diversification. Because there's no telling when I'm going to tell you to fuck off, and there's no telling when YouTube might decide to tell me to go fuck myself. So, any day, baby, any day. Like, we just reorganize. And I'll give you a little trick to the trade here. But there's a martyr, a man named William Bill Cooper. Wrote Behold a Pale Horse. Did a series, and you can look it up. It's a great series if you hadn't ever listened to it. It's called, I believe it's called Signs of Our Times. Signs of Our Times. He's talking about the New World Order. Told everybody that when 9/11 come, they were going to blame Osama bin Laden, and don't you believe it? He was the kind of man that could step on and off a nuclear submarine. Go anywhere in the world he wanted to go. Which is why I'm not fully and totally convinced that he died the way that they say he died. But that would be my own bit of conjecture and speculation. He could have been martyred. But no matter what happened, at this point, he'd be old enough to be dead. But man like that had contacts, been around the world a few times. One big toe and a mystery, other big toe and everything you needed to know about our beloved republic. May have been able to fake his own death. But it's just as likely they fucking murdered him. You know? They murdered all kinds of people. Huey Long, JFK. I was writing the other night when I was listening to Monograph. I'd missed his live stream. I've missed a lot of the live streams and stuff I used to really enjoy participating in. I'm fucking busy here. And I got to thinking about art. And about the monumental failure that Biden is. And I say presidential in like these air quotes here. It's like, have presidential elections always been kind of rigged and unfair in the U.S.? I mean, is it any big fucking surprise to anybody? I mean, shit, we've been dealing with that, at least in my lifetime. I've been aware of it since the fucking hanging Chads debacle in Florida when George W. Bush Jr. With Papa Bush fucking pulling the strings, rigging the election in Florida. I mean, get the fuck out of here. Like, was George W. Bush Jr. a legitimate president when he first came into office? Everybody hated his guts, and then he started a war, and everybody was like, wah, 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 rah, rah, rah. Fucking moron. Couldn't even manage a baseball team. With all the fucking money that the Saudis could stuff into their pockets, he could still fuck it up. And then Biden really is the pinnacle. Well, like I say, I was thinking about art, and I was thinking because Monty was talking about he was working on a thumbnail, you know, a graphic for his upcoming show about you know, Biden sanctioning America. And as he was working on it, I mean, the fucking words basically came right out of Joe Biden's mouth that the fucking, it wasn't necessarily just sanctions against Russia, it was sanctions against multiple countries, and that up to and including the United States of America. Which is why I fucking flipped my lid during the press conference, I don't know, a couple fucking weeks back. Talking about sanctions, I know it's only 10%. 10%. And that's not even the fucking main issue here. The main issue is the death of the petrodollar. I remember making a video a while back. I don't know if I ever posted it or not. I probably did. Could be lost to the sands of time. When I was sitting up in Virginia under a tree and I was thinking about Fukushima. And instead of just, you know, bringing a level of awareness to it, I started plotting scheme on how I was going to figure on actually getting something done as far as that nuclear power shit was in regard to that nuclear power shit. So because I was tired of crying. I had cried for the last fucking time. I mean, it did. It broke my heart. I had pretty much got to the point where, and I remember the day, because some days you just remember. And I remember the day I was fucking standing in the bedroom, and there were tears running down my face. At how fucked up that is. And it was like that day, it's like, I don't know, something happened to me. Like, it wasn't that I didn't care anymore. It was that I didn't feel hurt by much of anything anymore. I was like, you know, I'm done. I'm done with fear. I'm done with the fucking crying. I'm done with all of the bullshit. And I'm either going to do or I'm not going to do. I'm going to fucking do it. But it needs to be done. And so I was sitting there when I had gone up to Virginia. And I said, well, I'm going to need, if I'm going to put a stop to this shit, I'm going to have some kind of enticement that's above and better than the nuclear. I'm going to have to offer some, the LaRuchefeld School of Revolution. You know, you play your allies and opponents off of each other to get what you fucking need to have done. And I said, well, might be crawling into bed with the devil, but I'll go in with oil and gas, because that lobby, because you have to look for where the money is, that lobby can outplay the nuclear lobby. It's like, I feel like somebody should have been shot in the fucking head when the BP oil spill happened, and then they sprayed all that Corexit into the Gulf of Mexico. Like, I feel like I'm kind of like, I'm not really into cruel and unusual punishment, but the Chinese kind of have something going on with that shit where they actually hold people accountable when they fuck it up. Like, they had a train, there was some guy inside the Chinese bureaucracy that was responsible for these super fast trains, and there was an accident. And whether or not it was directly his fault, I mean, because there's always something, especially in China. I mean, fuck it, in America too at this point. America used to take corruption very, very seriously. I hope we get back to those days, because I have such a strong distaste for corruption. It makes me want to just fucking knife it out like a cancer. Surgically remove that type of shit. And I'll get back to this art piece that I'm thinking of here. So they all, you know, it's Chinese culture to take bribes and kickbacks and something. So everybody's dirty, all right? Everybody's got some fucking dirty thing going on. That's just the way communism works. Probably the whole fucking way of the world. When it comes to any kind of bureaucracy or government or whatever the fuck, there's always going to be some kind of kickback, somebody getting something greased here or there. But see, there was an accident. But of course they had the dirt on him because everybody's dirty. And I think they fucking killed him. So I don't know who I was just going on about that probably should be hung. But Chinese do hold people accountable. I don't believe in cruel and unusual punishment, but I definitely believe some motherfuckers need to be put in jail for fucking with my shit, fucking with our shit, fucking with our values, fucking with our principles. I don't, you know, it's like, you're gonna send soldiers around the world for the Ukraine. Why don't you wet up some of these motherfuckers that are just pulling everybody's strings and jerking us around as a world population? I guess when you get to that level, you can't be trading fucking bullets at that point, because then the whole world would be chaos. And I like to think of the old like Parcelus and all those assassins from those bygone eras that studied death so intricately. There wasn't a king or a prince or any motherfucker in the world that couldn't be got. But I've long since passed the point of calling for violence, because I'm just not that kind of guy that's that pissed off anymore. Because I know that there are other guys out there that really are. So I personally don't have to fuck with it that much. At all. Like, all I am is an asshole with an opinion that attends to his own affairs. But as I was saying about Biden and the fucking monumental failure that he is, it's like, I was thinking about the presidential portraits because Monty was trying to make his graphic as Biden had just come out and basically said that he had sanctioned America because he's a dipshit fucking retard. I mean, we were going to deglobalize anyway, but holy fucking moly. I mean, did you have to burn every bridge on the way out? I mean, it was going that way anyway. I've been talking about that shit for years. But, you know, damn, it's like, why don't you try a soft landing instead of just crashing the motherfucker into the ship? I mean, I guess you can do it quick and painful, like ripping off a Band-Aid. I mean, America's got a lot more than some would expect. But we're not gonna. I'll be damned if I want to piss it away in the Ukraine over some corruption or whatever the fuck. Like, fuck Putin and his bullshit authoritarian nonsense where he's intimidated by Pussy Riot and some faggot with a microphone in Moscow. Like, oh, that's, you know, Russian, big hard man, scared of a fucking queer. Like, get the fuck out of here. And they've got, you know, literally they've got jihadists ready to crawl up their ass. And they're worried about some fucking protesters or some fucking... It's just... The Russian philosophy towards liberty is... it's just fucking absurd. It's fucking absurd. But those people suffered under the yoke of communism, and now they got a whole new idea of capitalism, which is like as close to fascism as anything else is in the world, and that's what Wild Bill was talking about. William Bill Cooper wasn't about global communism, about global fascism. And there's nothing that's more antithetical to American principle than fucking fascism. I hate fascism. You know, it'd almost be worth raising a fascist from the dead just to gut the son of a bitch again. But ain't no need to worry about all that. No need to dwell on all that nonsense. There's other things, other tasks that must be attended to. So let me get back to this piece of art here. I was basically said there is no representation or you as a man made of flesh and blood, meat and bone, with even if you were a master of the highest degree in quality, you being a mere man, flesh and blood, meat and bone, cannot accurately ever fully represent with color or pixel or tools available to you in this material world to represent the failure that is Joe Biden. Like, I thought that the artist that did the six-fingered Obama covered in ivy, that was a pretty good presidential portrait, because it was just kind of like the world's... I mean, people hated it when it came out, and they still hate it, and they still hate Obama. So in a very clever way that probably was, I would say, it was an excellent presidential portrait. The six-fingered Obama covered in ivy. Fucking bastard. Is that hate speech? No, it's public discourse. I always like to make a point because I'll play that shit, and I'll play it for you now just because I'm an asshole like that. And maybe I'll get on to talk about the city-states of Florida. But let me pull a little special treat for you. What a fucking wanker this guy is. And this typifies everything that you need. All right, so let me switch this shit up here real quick. It's been a while. Now to me, that's just fucking great. Like you can see him, he's trying to get away. This woman is jerking him around. It's like, you're not gonna talk your way out of this one, Obama. You fucking dandy cunt. And then to watch him fucking get jerked around by that woman, it exemplifies for what we've known for a long time about these so-called leaders. They're just fucking puppets. And an Argentinian dancer can grab the president of the United States, and he's going to try and get away. He's going to try to talk his way out of it, smile to it. She's going to grab him and jerk him around like a fucking puppet on a string. I love it. I fucking love it. There are a lot of things that are best represented in art and in dance. Like you can see the true character of a creature, of a man or a woman, in the games they play and in the art. And art takes many forms, and it's life imitating art. Art imitating life. I kind of think it's the latter. I think art creates itself. I mean, truly good art creates itself. Like, It is effortless because it just simply has to be done. Has to be done. So when you see such a beautiful thing, like Obama being pulled around by an Argentinian woman like a puppet on a string, reveals everything everyone in the world needs to know about the character of the man, hiding behind the drones and the motorcades and the money and the media and the spotlight and the fucking Jimmy Kimmel's and all the other sycophantic jerk-offs. The true character, true nature is revealed in art. Some would say comedy can be an art form, but the jerk off, the jerk offs that they have can't even be funny. Like I think that like the I wouldn't even call them comedians, because Jon Stewart had to fuck that all up for us. Like, thanks a lot, asshole. Like, you really did have to fucking bring your bias into everything. And then just created a generation of fuck-ups that, you ruined comedy. You ruined comedy for everybody, Jon Stewart. There's a special place in hell for you. I'm sure of that. Like, I don't know what you need to do to atone for your sin of destroying comedy by tying it into the fucking news and then taking the fucking bribes or, the suck-off bias that just made shit unfunny. I mean, what the fuck, man? Like, I never even thought Norm Macdonald was funny. And Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live hadn't been funny since, I mean, it's occasionally funny when something gets totally fucked up, like Ashley Simpson comes on and screws up her lip syncing. Like, that shit's funny because it's real. I'm saying, like, somebody fucked it up. And nothing is more entertaining than, to me, no, there is no greater truth than what's fucking real. I mean, that's comedy. Sam Kinison, like, really kicking it out there. Fucking Rodney Dangerfield, like fucking Chris Farley. I mean, guys that gave it all for their work. Gave it all. And Jimmy Dore, that slippery fuck. I mean, he's kind of funny, but he is one slippery motherfucker. He changes position, but hey, that's kind of what you're supposed to do. I mean, you're kind of supposed to play to your audience. So you would be like, oh, he's a slippery fuck. Maybe. Or maybe he just actually knows how to do his job well. He's able to adapt, change his mind. Like, not compromise his values. Willing to challenge certain positions. But of course, there's some places he won't go. He will never go. Like, there's only a few people that will go there and do that thing. And it's a small cadre. You can't necessarily call it a brotherhood because there are women in it too that will get fucking censored, banned, struck down, and they just keep coming back and they keep coming back and they keep coming back. I mean, you're gonna have to fucking kill them to stop them, and they're not gonna die that easy. So those are the people that I always will reach back out, and make sure that, I support. Like Carol, Never Lose Truth. Like, I don't necessarily believe in all of her like, I know weather warfare is a thing, but she needs to come to the terms with they can't figure out when the fucking full moon is supposed to be. Like, the signs are in the heavens. I mean, look up. And you'll figure out that, there's other shit going on here. And it's like, that was the first round of censorship that happened to YouTube anyway. It was the astronomy channels. The censorship didn't hit the political shit till later, because political ain't really worth a pinch of puppy shit on a hog's ass, like, or a pimple on a hog's ass. Like, it's just, you can sit and talk and talk and talk until your fucking face turns blue, but until you pick up a rifle or you have a bucket full of cash, nobody really gives a fuck. I'm sorry, that's the cold hard truth of it. I mean, that's the way of the world. Like, you're either gonna stand in their way, or you're gonna fucking grease the palms that need to get greased, which is fucked up, because I hate corruption. Like, that's one of the things that will make a country great, is its disdain for corruption. It's what makes ships want to come, people want to do business with you, because your word is your bond. And if your word is good, people will do business with you. All that self-serving bullshit anyway. I'm sitting here with fucking Venezuelan bolivars. What presidential portrait would be fitting for Joe Biden? Only time will tell. Maybe they'll get hip to my game and they'll do something a little more conventional, but I fucking certainly hope not. I hope they really capture the essence of that son of a bitch. Like, because, you could have respect for a lifelong senator. You could have respect for that. You could have respect for I'm really reaching here. But he really reminds me of like, there's these old people that are kind of in the dementia wards or the geriatric wards or whatever, and there's like two types of old people, like the cantankerous ones that are like, get off my lawn, you son of a bitch, get off my lawn, kid. And then that fucking evil son of a bitch that just bites you. Just trying to bite you. And he gets that little nasty snarl on his face, and you can just tell he wants to fucking reach out and bite you. Like, if you were a nurse or something in the geriatric ward, that'd be the motherfucker that you would definitely try to avoid, and that you wish would just die. because anytime you go around and treat him, he can just turn around and bite you like an animal, like a dog. You can see it in his face. Like an ill-tempered, pampered, out of touch, demented son of a bitch. Like, it's just a fine fucking close to a so-called life of service, as they've padded their pockets. All sorts of corruption that embarrasses the entire fucking country. Fucking embarrassment. That's what that is. It's like, well, that's a way, I guess, to finish your career. You go ahead and when you shuffle this mortal coil like John McCain, nobody will be crying for your ass. Like, we'll just all be kind of happy you're finally fucking dead. Good riddance to trash. Like, I'm almost stunned by it, because I don't think in any historical context we could find another president that is that bad, that is that incompetent. Like, I think that is true. I think this is truly a special time in history because I do not even believe art can capture the failure that is that man. So I guess I'm going to wrap this up here. I've been going on for 50 minutes. I was going to talk about the city-states of Florida, but like I said, I'll produce a little video from time to time as I travel around. I might have a little something for you, and I'll put that on Odyssey, and I'll just keep doing what I do on YouTube here. I'll divvy it up a little bit. But I'm going to finish this off with Ecclesiastes because I was looking there at 1:9 and 1:10, and I'll read 1:9 and 1:10. It's like I just want to remind everybody that you go to the Bible and you might look for something, and when it kind of spirals outward and you find more things that you'd like want to learn, see, right? It's so plain, so obvious, because it's so true, and yet people fucking miss it all the time. They miss it every day. What is it that hath been? The same thing that shall be. What is it that hath been done? The same that shall be done. Nothing under the sun is new, neither is any man able to say, Behold, this is new. For it hath already gone before in the ages that were before us. And I was thinking and explaining even, like the atomic bomb, that might be novel, it might be unique, but it ain't. War, killing people, is nothing new. The ambitions of men, nothing new. The wanton destruction, nothing new. Baked into the cake, as they say. But I'll read the whole thing. The vanity of temporal things. The words of Ecclesiastes, and forgive me for my lack of ability to pronounce these things. The words of Ecclesiastes, the son of David, king of Jerusalem, vanity of vanities, said Ecclesiastes. Vanity of vanities, and all is vanity. What hath a man more of all his labor that he taketh under the sun? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth standeth forever. The sun riseth and goeth down, and returneth to his place, and there rising again, making his round by the north, and turneth again, or making his round by the south, and turneth again to the north. The Spirit goeth forward, surveying all places round about, and returneth to his circuits. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea doth not overflow unto the place from whence the rivers came. They return to flow again. All things are hard. Man cannot explain them by word. The eye is not filled with seeing, neither is the ear filled with hearing. What is it that hath been? The same thing that shall be. What is it that hath been done? The same that shall be done. Nothing under the sun is new, neither is any man able to say, Behold, this is new. For it hath already gone before in the ages that were before us. There is no remembrance of former things, nor indeed of those things which hereafter are to come. Shall there be any remembrance with them that shall be in the latter end? I, Ecclesiastes, was king over Israel in Jerusalem, and I proposed in my mind to seek out and search wisely concerning all things that are done under the sun. This painful occupation hath God given to the children of men, to be exercised therein. I have seen all things that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. The perverse are hard to be corrected, and the number of fools is infinite. I have spoken in my heart, saying, Behold, I am become great, and have gone beyond all in wisdom, that were before me in Jerusalem, and my mind hath contemplated many things wisely, and I have learned. And I have given my heart to know prudence, and learning, and errors, and folly, and I have perceived that in these also there was labor, and the vexation of spirit, because in much wisdom there is much indignation, and he that addeth knowledge addeth also labor. It's been Hank, your pajama scholar. Catch you guys on the flip side.